Hi everyone, No Spoiler Raccoon here. I just saw Sonic Movie 2, and boy howdy, was this a movie.
Wow.
I have a lot to talk about here that frankly, I'm not hearing anyone else say. So going in, I didn't know what to expect. I hadn't watched any YouTubers' reviews on it to stay totally spoiler free, and the movie critics' opinions meant literally nothing to me. But I was seeing all over Twitter creators whose actual opinions I respect, mostly all saying they were disappointed by this film, with the main reason being it's great fun for a Sonic fan, but a worse overall movie than the first one. Or at the least almost everyone said it was just mediocre. Even talks about the CG and pacing being really rough, which I'll talk a bit more about when I get into my own thoughts. Overall, I personally thought the first Sonic movie was super formulaic and almost paint by numbers the way it paced all these story beats we've seen hundreds of times.
Corny, lame, bull.
And I think most of you'd agree that if you were to replace Sonic with a generic DreamWorks character and replace Robotnik with Harrison Ford, then this would be a legitimately awful movie. But as anyone who subbed for a while knows, I've closely watched all the trailers and any media leading up to this, so I've actually remained quite excited throughout this cycle. Yay! The first movie got a design rebuff, but its story was still just as hard to swallow as its design. However, with this one, director Jeff Fowler seems super knowledgeable and strategic about the way he confirmed this is the Master Emerald, and they're going to introduce more elements from the games into the universe. The biggest being Knuckles,
Here I come.
as well as the trailers also showing Tails being voiced by the game's voice actress, Colleen O'Shaughnessy, a Robotnik that's transforming into the game's Eggman as we know him, Sonic 2's iconic Death Egg robot, and the evolution of Robotnik's drones into Badniks. So with all this information, I was genuinely hyped despite all the negativity from everyone around me. So with that, what did I think of this movie? I absolutely loved this movie. I legitimately want to know what these Sonic tubers are on. People are gonna say I'm being fake positive, even though I've never been before, but I genuinely loved it. The pacing was never rushed, but never felt slow. It was paced like an Edgar Wright film, a la Scott Pilgrim or Baby Driver. It had the perfect amount of human moments, and what's important to note is that the human moments are not slow points in this movie. They are in on the action and very relevant to the plot, as well as some of the highlights of the whole film. And compare that to how in the first movie, they are literally a vehicle for Sonic to progress through the clearly laid out plot of getting his rings and stopping Robotnik. This one has twists and turns and all sorts of fun surprises for viewers. But the plot is guided smoothly through this film's excellent sense of humor. And it's not even that it's just better, because that wouldn't be doing it justice. No, this one actually has humor. The first one had at most a couple solid jokes, but here they found a good mixture of sincerity and humor. With Sonic generally being the comedy relief, this constantly quippy Sonic is much more attuned to the game's personality.
Piece of cake.
And they've really nailed the character of Sonic here. To get back to the humor, on the opposite end is Robotnik, who they've taken the exact same approach to. If you love Jim Carrey in the last one, this one is that times 4.
Alrighty then.
We'll get more into the cast specifically in a minute, but I want to emphasize that even an adult will find much of this humor actually funny. Like, I'm 23 and I laughed. That's a rare thing and is not cap.
What is cap?
This is likely due to Deadpool's own Tim Miller having the shackles loosened a little with the massive success of the first movie among older and younger audiences. An important aspect that this film does excellently is it never feels like there's a bleak scene. There's no scene where nothing happens and there's no comedy relief character. This will definitely upset a lot of film snobs who want a 5-hour art house film about a guy writing letters to his mom. But I think this was a wonderful choice. It paces through an A, B, and C story, all very well, while weaving them together in a cohesive and sensical way. I keep comparing it to Scott Pilgrim, and that's because that film was initially put off by critics for feeling too fast-paced and rushed, as well as its non-stop quirky humor style. But now is regarded as a classic for us Zoomers worldwide. Now I want to talk about the emotion of the film, or the heart as you may call it, specifically how I think it's executed and placed. I won't get into any specifics and will leave all the things I want to say oh so badly in my spoiler review. But after seeing the feedback this movie is getting, there's some sociopaths among us who likely have no heart and definitely no soul. There's one part where someone is talking about feeling weird and different, and I was going, yes, blank character, I feel your struggle.
Maybe being weird isn't so bad.
And there's a select few moments like that strategically placed throughout. One of my favorites is a scene placed towards the beginning where Tom and Sonic are having this father-son dynamic where Tom's trying to give Sonic guidance and Sonic's rejecting it. Now, I don't relate, but anyone with a step-parent who they struggle to accept as a figure of authority will relate to this. There's a lot of great moments where Sonic has these individual struggles that all cause him to be relatable to a variety of different upbringings and backgrounds. And that's just by seeing Sonic dealing with these things that we feel right in front of us. In the first movie, the emotional points between him and Tom felt really corny and forced. Him trying to gain Tom's trust is laid out from the beginning, while Sonic Movie 2 dangles a carrot on a stick in front of you, gives you the carrot, then introduces a whole new carrot for you to chase after. We'll get into the cast, but I want to talk about the score. The musical score is great because you don't really notice it. It always contributes to the tone of each scene, and you never go,
that doesn't feel right here.
which is one of the best ways to leave a score. Even though I didn't love the Kid Cudi song, as it's a little too bare bones and mellow for my taste, it actually fits super well in the movie itself, as opposed to Speed Me Up, which is just in the first movie's end credits. I am a bit disappointed, and we all expected this, but Juice WRLD's awesome Speed Me Up remix did not make the cuts for the credits. I was really hoping for this, since nobody has had as many posthumous, meaning post-life, releases, and the lyrics to his version are so relevant to this movie. It'd be cool for his legacy since he loved Sonic, and I'm hoping there's still a way they could work something out for the Blu-ray. It's very unlikely, but it'd be really nice. So, if you love these quirky early 2000s-esque comedy movies like me, and could just throw on Scott Pilgrim to rewatch it anytime, this movie will definitely appeal to you. All the things that were late epic cringe about the first movie have not only been fixed, but they mock literally all of those moments in this. Tons of references for dedicated Sonic fans, and what a lot of people aren't getting is that even if you don't get the reference, they're either throwaway, you'd miss them if you don't get it, references in the background, or they're funny jokes even excluding the reference. Y'all need to lighten up a little. There's only a single scene where I thought the CG looked kind of bad. And other than that, I thought it looked great consistently throughout. All the characters look great, and the visuals of this look far better than the first movie. The cinematography is next level, and there's some jaw-dropping shots in this. There's only one shot in particular where I thought the angle was weirdly close, and it's likely you won't even notice it. Let's get into the cast of this movie. The cast was definitely softballed in the first one, with everyone feeling kind of awkward and phoned in, besides Jim Carrey, Ben Schwartz, and Lee Majdaub. The role of Rachel and Maddie, played by Natasha Rothwell and Tika Sumpter respectively, was very small in the first movie as well. Same with Wade, played by Adam Pally, the other Green Hills PD officer. Now, with this movie, they amplified all of this and added a lot of key additions to the cast, which I'll get into after. So with the returning cast, Rachel has a lot of depth as a character, and Shamar Moore's addition was surprisingly hilarious and added a lot to Rachel's previously one-sided characteristic of being angry. Tika Sumpter as Maddie was away for the first movie and felt like Tom's wife who he had to check up on every so often. Well, now she's greatly involved and even has some action scenes. In the first film, James Marsden's Tom was a Ken doll staring off in the distance as Sonic progressed the plot. Well, here he adds a lot of character and a subtler, drier humor with his intentionally themed dad vibes. A welcome progression to his character. Adam Pally and Lee Majdaub are both great comedy relief side characters, and that's Wade and Agent Stone in case you don't know, with Lee deservedly getting much more screen time, but both having more whimsical personalities and more moments to shine overall. Jim Carrey returns as Robotnik, and I'm so sick of hearing this, so I can't imagine how he feels. But I don't know how else to say it. The wacky 90s Jim Carrey returns and is amplified 4 times over. He and Sonic are competing to shove as much shtick and charm into these characters, and it's a very close competition. And that leads to Ben Schwartz returning as Sonic and once again, did a wonderful job. And you know he did a good job because Sonic fans are ultra sensitive to voice changes and welcomed him on board immediately. The new additions to the cast are Idris Elba as Knuckles, who was a welcome surprise to me. I didn't go as crazy as everyone else did, but I enjoyed him a lot. The only issues I would say with his character are sometimes the line between dumb and silly Goofy Knuckles and serious warrior Knuckles crossed a little too quickly. But it was generally pretty funny and good overall. Colleen O'Shaughnessy reprises her role of Tails from the games and was an amazing and very fulfilling contribution to the cast. I'll admit it was a little weird hearing Game Tails next to Schwartz and Elba, but I got used to that within the first couple minutes they were on screen. The audience's feedback on this movie has been a mixture of people saying the movie is too long and some scenes need to be removed, and others saying it's rushing and does too much in too short of time. And you can't really have both. Personally, I can't imagine removing a single scene, and I think the length of this is just long enough to hold my attention throughout the whole thing. So with that, let's give this movie a score. This will probably make more people mad at me than giving it a really low score, but this is just how I feel. 10 out of 10. This is literally perfect for what it is. Not only is it an amazing sequel, but I really don't know if another video game movie will ever tackle all of these elements so well with such a great cast and team behind it again. I think this might be lightning in a bottle, and I literally can't imagine a way this movie could be better. I think some people were impatient with the pacing because they're all wanting to run towards the tail end for the big reveals. But I'm confident this movie will age like fine wine among Sonic fans, and in a couple years will be seen as a highlight in the franchise. You don't know when the golden years are until they're over. And I know many of you are gonna say, wow, Jaden, such pandering. But honestly, if I were pandering, I'd bring up all the pacing issues you want me to bring up, and probably give it a less confident score of like a 9 or 9.5 or something. But I simply disagree and loved every single moment of this movie, and nobody can take that from me. There's so much I want to talk about that I just can't because of spoilers. So make sure you're subbed with bell on, set to all notifications, so that you don't miss out and can catch my in-depth spoiler review right after you see the movie itself. Also, The Sonic Show is the #1 source of Sonic news, and by not subbing and liking, the robot will never show you any of these epic Sonic videos again, and that'd be a shame worse than losing a loved one. So make sure to like, sub, bell, all on. You know I gotta say that, right? And before we end, honestly, I'm gonna start a little drama. Ricardo's a friend of mine, but how could you possibly love and adore the Batman but feel disappointed and not enjoy Sonic 2? There's more plot holes in that movie than Swiss cheese. You, sir, are canceled. Boom, you're gonna lose all your friends, every brand's gonna pull out, and your parents are already making the first steps to excommunicate you from their family. And I bet they're wishing they could have pulled out too. You're a disgrace to this community. Give your Sonic collection to your local Goodwill immediately and leave like Koban Armani. Glad I got that off my chest. All right, spoiler review in a few days. Lots of love and peace. Peace!